Hello, and welcome back to Getting to Know You, Owners Club exclusive podcast. Today, our featured guest is Nikki Glarakis. Did I say that right?
Yes,
I
Larry.
didn't even practice ahead of time. What time zone do you live in?
I'm in the Pacific time zone. I live in Las Vegas.
Oh, nice. Tell us, Nikki, who are you?
Oh, that's a good question. I started in real estate just a year and a half ago. I work in the airline industry right now still for my W 2. I am a person that believes in doing the right thing and doing good. So I'm a problem solver by nature, a creative. Also, I like to arrive to creative solutions. And I have always wanted to be able to create a little independence, financial freedom. So, finances and the way money works and the way people behave and work as well has always fascinated me because I'm always a person that feels deeply. And I tend to believe when people tell me something, I tend to believe that they are telling me the truth. And in my life, that has been good and not good as well. But yeah, this brought me to Las Vegas. I'm from the East Coast originally, so Las Vegas is kind of like a story that goes back to my grade school friend moved here because her brother worked here. So I ended up being the only one in my family to move to the West Coast, which was like a big deal back then. But I did it with someone that I knew and trusted. So it was an easier transition for me. But
Oh,
growing up again with an immigrant, I'm a first generation immigrant. I came here when I was little. So there's a lot of traditions and restrictions and ways of thinking that I had to kind of relearn and break through.
what is your heritage?
I'm Greek.
Oh,
The love of food and the togetherness and the feeling of emotions, like everything you experience, really comes from the heart. So every emotion is really fully expressed in a Greek family at full volume.
so,
So
so can I ask, is my big fat Greek wedding, is that accurate?
it was in some ways as an American though growing up, there was a lot of love and a lot of discord mixed in because my parents came from the war era, so it wasn't as lovey dovey as it appeared on the movies, But the father was stubborn, and and the women really are the strength behind a lot of it because it is a very patriarchal kind of. It's changed now, but back when my father grew up, that's how it was. Men ran the household, and the women served. But really, it's a servant leader position, kind of like how Pace does it. The go giving. You give, you serve, you feed, you pour, you get back. It's a give and take. It's a beautiful combination of giving and taking. So
Beautiful cycle.
a synergy. So yeah,
How
that's
did you
where I
get
am
to
now.
Owners Club? Tell us
Uh,
about your real estate journey.
I was at Squat Up actually. Let me take this. I'm using it as my headrest, but it's actually better like this. Uh, yes, I had joined. So the way I found Pace's community was actually through the infinite banking because I that's what I was interested. I started out with that, like wanting to kind of grow the money I already kind of had set aside, and then through the circumstances of my father passing away in 2022 and going and dealing with all of that. And some money came through that. And then I decided with that, I wanted to go into real estate. I'm glad we're talking to you, Kathy, because I have been wanting to share my story a little more too because of the experience that I went to starting out in real estate. I sort of did things the wrong way. So my story hopefully can be a lesson and a footnote for people who are getting started. And I kind of want to address a little more of the women because I am finding in my experience who I've connected and spoken to and other investors that have confided in me that it tends to be a little more towards women because we tend to be more nurturing, more caring, and I'm an empath as well. So I feel deeply, and I feel, especially if someone's going through something hard, I feel like somehow I have to help fix it. So when I started, I met Pace actually in Las Vegas. He came out here and did a meetup in November 2023. So he had also, there have been a few people in this community that have been working in sub two for a while. So that's what I did. I met this individual. He's known. We just got to talking, and I was excited and I decided, okay, let's do something together. So I got into a private money partnership with him. I wanted to just do lending, but he was explaining, well, you can also do this. You can have an equity stake in the property and you can have profits. So I decided to go with it, and there really wasn't any initial contract. It was like a lot of verbal. And I didn't really have anyone in the beginning to sort of bounce ideas off of. So I tried to look online, but there wasn't anything like there. So I was like, well, okay, maybe a 90-10 split and I'm the finance partner. Maybe that is the way it goes. Sure. So I went in on it as the full, financing partner. Um, and the property just never really cash flowed from the start. And it just, in the beginning, I thought things were going well because he was available and he was showing me how to look through some of the contracts and how to get the house ready for it was a little more of a co-living situation. But at the time, it was going to be geared more towards people going through fixed income or dealing with some eviction or homelessness. And at the time, I didn't want to do it, but it just so happened that I was like going to follow his lead because I was like, okay, what do I know? So I just continued to move forward, even though I felt deep down like things didn't feel right. And so the lesson became the long short of it is that now we are, no longer partners, and the house has just basically never really cash flowed. It just wasn't set up properly to do that. And when you do co-living, from what I have learned, of course, with watching Jamil, there's certain steps and there's certain guidelines you have to put in place. But because there was a lot put on me as well initially, he was not really a great partner because there was really no collaboration and equal leadership. I was turned more into an admin role during this. So it was very, very stressful because I was dealing with terminal illness with my family as well. So my experience in real estate, because of that, brought a lot more pain to me as I was hoping to get, forward. And so from that, I got into also a private money lending deal, and that was from another investor. And nothing wrong with this investor. He did all things right, but it was a borrower situation as well. So what ended up happening is it's now been 14 months. What are we now? So almost 16 months. And the money's still been tied up in the renovation rebuild just because of the city codes and staffing shortages. And then last year, I also did some investment into a startup company with Dan Fleischman. And that company also is not has gone into financial straits, and they're in some kind of suspended status when I looked up their LLC. So basically, the long and short of it is, I went into it looking for an easy button. So I know my part in it, because I was hoping it would be something fast and easy. I didn't really approach it like a business in the beginning. I approached it more like, well, let me just do something on the side and and make my money. So in the interim, what I had learned last year, I had to go through these lessons. I had to deal with some hard things with my own family. So there was the stress and the grief and the loss. So the loss and the failure in real estate, some of the loss going on in my family, because both my mother and my sister are in an assisted facility as well. My mom has dementia, and my sister's paralyzed with cancer, and my aunt is dying also of terminal cancer. So it was just a lot on me. And I joined Owners Club with the hopes that I would have a fully automated business up and running. And then what happened in reality was none of that. Um, but the plus and the light in it all was people like yourself, actually, that reached out and gave me support and gave me advice and shared their own stories and the same exact thing they've been through. Some bad partnerships, some lopsided contracts, things that you'll sometimes run into, even if you've done this a little while. So, I was encouraged to just keep going and pushing through and being able to do what I can with the skills I already have in place. So once we got into 2025, I was determined to push through some of the stress and grief that wanted to overtake me, because I knew I had some lessons to learn and I have something to offer. So what I decided also, Kathie, was like, I have the ability to reach out to all these amazing people who have such amazing skills. What more can I do to offer? So, what I have been doing throughout all of these experiences is I always do wellness. I had a chronic condition as well, rheumatoid arthritis, and through that, I healed a lot of it. I turned it around, and through diet, through clean foods, through consistent, measured actions, I did that. And I wanted to be able to share that with people. So I started sharing videos, and I want to be able to offer that coaching and then connect people as well and help people find the deals they're looking for or help connect the funding. And then what I also started doing with the money I still had available, I stopped putting it into the partnership property that didn't work as of earlier this year. Currently, that property now it's just, unfortunately, he's not coming to the table to negotiate. So that property is right now, I'm just waiting to see what we can do to come to a resolution. So I put my money into heart missions of other people who do business well and right. And one of them is the Veterans Mission that Brian does in Houston, Texas, with his, he fabricates containers and he helps provide housing for veterans that have just been left on the streets, pretty much. Then I also partnered up with someone else through IBC who does good business as well. So I've been just putting my money in these areas with people I believe in and who do the right thing and who have a track record and proven results. So from
Yeah.
my experience, that's where I am right now. But ideally, yes, I would love to work and be able to offer more value to people in that way and show them the importance of working with the right people and making sure that it's something that fits with what you want and what you're good at.
Incredibly resilient, Nikki.
Thank
The resilience and the courage to keep going and knowing that there is better out there and providing now better for other people as well. That's beautiful.
thank you. Need that.
So is connecting and private money lending your two main focuses?
That's where I have been drawn to because I naturally like people and build relationships, even though I have been taken advantage of in other areas of my life too. I have learned now that the proper measuring stick for setting up boundaries and just, it's okay sometimes just to get to know people. You don't have to work with everyone you meet. Just get a good feel for them and trust your instincts. So this business is a long play too. I was never in it to do the big fast win, but honestly, I have a 6 month goal now, and I'm looking to just really grow with the right people and develop a little bit of a dynamic team as well because I love the power of leverage. I have skills and talents you may not have. You have skills and talents I know I don't have, and I think the beauty is in finding that person to work with you that flows with you to create more impact through real estate to do the things you want to do. I want to provide wellness for other people within the real estate and also outside of it because I've seen how it can change my life, how it took me out of the brain fog, out of some of the depression, out of the fatigue, out of the overwhelm. I know some people work in overwhelm and they do things. It seems like you do that. You do a lot from what I can see, and for me it tires me. I have to
Mm.
step back, recalibrate, reset, recharge, and do things methodically, and that's what I work best in. But if I had someone like yourself who works really fast and can integrate many ideas all at once, then that's even better. But I'm someone who takes thought. I would have to look at the contract. I ask all the right questions. I get to know if people are who they say they are. So I would be more of that more observant person and make sure that all things are in the right place and then move things forward.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to work with you, how could they bring value to you?
That's a wonderful question. I like to look over things and see where I can bring my heart to it. If they're looking for some funding, if I don't have enough of it, I can connect to someone who does. If they're looking for help with a solution or a problem, I can also help in that. Sometimes just looking at something from a different perspective can be what the person needs. I'd really like to be able to work with people in different markets too. I am looking to outside of Las Vegas, for instance, like I said with Brian in Houston, and then the other PML that that's in Pennsylvania. So yeah, I just look for certain parameters when I'm lending as well. Just I want to make sure that all the protections are in place and that the borrower, whoever it may be, that the borrower always has and treats your money as something precious, and make sure they have measures in place that if something happens, that they are still able to collateralize from other projects to make sure you're paid out on time. So I'm finding that's the hardest thing is, I'm really looking for that solid borrower that has done business for a little while and make sure they communicate effectively, agree to terms that produce a win-win, and that you get your money and your interest on time. When they say that they'll get it, that you get it. Because I have experienced, things that go longer because of the unexpected things in life, especially with rebuilds and full on renovations with architectural plans get involved and the city inspection and all of that. There's a lot of variables that come into play.
A lot of potential delays for sure.
Yeah, have you?
If someone wanted to get a hold of you, what is the best way to reach you?
Oh, the best way, I say just reach me through my cell phone. I still work during the day, but I always try to respond within 24, 48 hours. Cell number 702-302-2787, or my business email, Nikki@investwithnikki.com, and also my Blink, which I can send, and through Instagram as well. So I do more of my wellness videos on Instagram, so you can follow me on Nikki Lives Well.
Put that all in the show notes for everyone. Please subscribe and like this video. Support our fellow OCers here. And thank you so much, Nikki, for being a part of our show. And we wish you the
Thank
best of
you.
luck. Will we see you in Monterey?
Yes, I will be
Yay!
there. I'm excited to see you too.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.